Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you'll meet one of the leading sales experts on the planet. He calls himself the Sales Hunter, and he'll give us a graduate level course in sales next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I hear people say all the time, oh, I'm not a salesperson. Well, if you're married, you're a salesperson. You made the ultimate sale, but we're always selling, aren't we? We're selling a cop on not giving us a ticket. We're selling a kid on doing his homework. We're selling a boss. We're selling an employee. We're all in sales. And somebody who knows that better than anybody I've ever met is my next guest. It's Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me on. Looking forward to this conversation. We're going to have fun.
Absolutely. Well, in TV news, I was in sales too. I'm knocking on somebody's door, trying to get them to sit down and do an interview. You made the point before the show that some people think sales is a dirty word.
Yeah, not some people. I think a lot of people think it's a dirty word because they're confused that it's slimy or slippery. But really all it is two people having a conversation like you and I are doing right here. What's wrong with that? It's just talking to finding out what's going on in your life and how I can help you.
Absolutely, and I think we agree on this too, that every generation since the Great Depression has gotten a little softer. My dad grew up during the Great Depression, and he was hard as nails. I'm tough. I get up every morning at 5. My kids are a little softer than me, but I worry about this next generation of salespeople because didn't they get a trophy for showing up?
Well, yes, participation trophies are thrown out for everything, and I think that has unfortunately fueled it. I can't go into sales because somebody might tell me no, and that's just going to crush my feelings. I need a ribbon for that one.
So when you go out and you speak all over the planet, you're speaking to sales teams. What kind of messages are you sending them? What kind of breakthroughs are you allowing them to have?
Well, first of all, let's take a step back and define sales.
Sure.
Sales is about helping others see and achieve what they did not think was possible. Now stop and think about that for a moment. You're just helping people see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. But the challenge is you don't necessarily know what that is. So in order to help them, you really have to listen to them. And this is what so many people don't understand about sales. Sales is a communication process, but it's listening, just listening to you. But in order for me to listen to you, we have to create a relationship.
Yes.
And with that comes a level of trust. And see, those words don't fly in the vocabulary of what a lot of people think a good salesperson is. But that's what a good salesperson is.
Absolutely. We're going to put up a website, and as we scroll down Mark's website, I want to just kind of talk about how long you've been a keynote speaker, because one of the greatest fears on the planet is public speaking. Have you always been a gifted speaker?
I don't know. I guess I have, because I did get sent to the principal a few times for interrupting class when I was in grade school. No, you know what? Again, it's just like anything else. It is a craft that you develop. And, if I go in front of a large crowd, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, yeah, I get nervous beforehand. But thank goodness I am, because that means I care, right? If I didn't, that would mean I didn't care. So, yeah, and again, this is what sales, and sales, whether it's me in front of 4,000 or 5,000 people or me in front of one person, if I don't connect with you, there's no dialogue.
And Mark, his talks are full of great information, but he's also entertaining. We're going to show just a little piece of his sizzle reel.
When you develop a relationship, you begin to understand what the definition of sales is. The definition of sales is really pretty simple. It's helping others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible.
Stand up, because we're going to do something here in just a second. I want you yelling at the top of your lungs. Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
more you make it a lifestyle, the easier sales becomes. Because you know what happens? You communicate differently with people. And you know what you find? Trust is currency. Trust is the currency of business. Think about your sales. Think about your best sales out there. They all happen because you have a level of trust.
What I really loved about Mark's talk was how much he simplifies sales. It's very simple. As human beings, our brains like to complicate things and we like to make it more difficult than it has to be. And Mark really breaks it down to the simplest form. And I love how he focuses on the mindset of sales as much as it is the action of sales. So it was a really incredible talk and I really enjoyed it.
Mark Hunter made a very strong impression on me when I walked into my first outbound conference, and he shook my hand like I was an old friend.
He's a total asset to the sales profession. His book of Mind for Sales is a must-read for everybody.
You have not lived until you have seen Mark Hunter live, on stage, in your face, delivering pearls of wisdom that will knock your socks off, change your game, and drive your sales game to the next echelon.
But what I find so interesting is too many salespeople work so hard to land a new customer and they don't come back and nurture the growth. Nurture the growth. Yeah. Don't sell the product. Sell the outcome. I get a call, not from my boss, but from my boss's boss, and he brings me into his office and sits me down, and I think I'm getting fired. I'm positive I'm getting fired. He sits me down and he says, "Mark, why are you in sales?" I wanted to say the company car. That probably wasn't going to be a good answer. He starts grilling me with questions. He starts grilling me with more and more questions. And I'm sorry, but I couldn't answer the questions. Well, let's put it this way. The answers I wanted to give wasn't the ones he was looking for. You see, here was the deal. I believe sales was, you're a customer, I'm going to take your money and run real quick. That was my motto for sales. You see, it doesn't work too well. He tried to explain to me that the why in sales is to be able to create a relationship with customers.
So when you're talking to a sales team for the first time and they're putting up all these barriers, like I think about Glengarry Glen Ross, the leads are bad, right? There's a million excuses as to why they can't sell. And how do you help them, reframe their stinking thinking, as Zig Ziglar would say?
Yeah, well, it is. And it comes back to the fact that if you know you can help someone, you have an obligation to reach out to them. Now stop and think about that. Let's use a quick example. If you're driving down the road and you suddenly see a car accident in front of you, what are you going to do? You're going to stop and you're going to help the people, because you may not be a medic or trained, but you're going to try to render help. That's really what sales is all about. If I know I can help someone, I'm going to reach out to them. And let me frame this up differently. I have a lot of problems. Trust me, my kids tell me I have a lot of problems. And if you could help me, I would want you to reach out to me.
Sure.
See, so this is what sales is really doing each other a favor.
And you can learn from bombing the sale. In fact, you made the point before we started that you were fired from your first 2 sales jobs?
I was fired from my first 2 sales jobs because I viewed the customer as if they were bowling pins, and it was my job just to knock them down, take their money, and run. It wasn't until my 3rd sales job where my boss sat me down and he said, "Hold on. Do you understand why you do what you do? Do you know anything about your customers? Do you have any kind of a relation?" He began getting me to look at the customer differently. And when I began looking at the customer to truly understand them, wow, that's when.
What are some common, I said this is graduate level, but let's do some sales 101. What are some common mistakes that young salespeople make?
They talk too much. Sales is not about what you share. Sales is about the questions you ask. I just want to ask you questions now, and this is what's beautiful about sales. All you really have to have is like 2 or 3 questions, because I'm gonna talk to you, and whatever you say, I'm gonna ask you another question on that. And then whatever you say, I'm going to ask you another question. So I'm going to let you, oh, this is scary. I'm going to let the customer guide the process. Yeah. But you know what? That's the only way I'm going to really find out what it is that you're looking for.
And the beauty of that, not only you mentioned that you learn more about the customer and what their likes or dislikes are, but you also start to check a lot of boxes. Like, I like this Mark guy. He asks good questions. He does his homework. And they're making a lot of decisions that go way beyond the benefits of whatever you're selling.
And that is so true because, we've all heard the term close the sale. I hate that term. I don't want to close a sale. I want to open a relationship. Now think about it. When you begin to think in those terms, I want to open a relationship, it just changes how you communicate, changes how you listen. And then really the only good sale is the one that leads to the next sale. Why? Because the customer likes you so much, they're either referring you to somebody else or they want more help or you're going to refer them to somebody else. But they're just, out of it comes an abundance of value for both sides.
Okay, give us some more do's and don'ts.
Sure, some more do's and don'ts. First of all, you have to look at sales as it is not a one and done game. It is a continuous process. I'll give you an example. There's a company that I would like to work with, and I know I can help them. And there's some people there that I've been reaching out to for almost a year now. A year. You go into my computer system, my CRM system, you'll see that I've reached out to these people probably 30 or 40 times. Now, I'm not saying, hi, I'm Mark Hunter, buy from me. Hi, Mark Hunter, buy from me. No. Every time I'm bringing them value, I'm giving them something. I've given them some insights. I'm giving them some information. I'm sharing with them. And you know what? Somewhere along the line, I'll do business with them. But I don't feel scummy or slimy at all because they know I want to sell to them, but they know that they're not going to do business with me until they have a high level of trust. And this is what I'm building with them.
He's also a very powerful podcaster, and he gives away the gold. If you go to his YouTube channel, you can just hear hours and hours and hours of great content. This is one little clip.
And I need the words in my head. That's why I love your stuff, because when I need help, I'm like, oh, I need a mind for sales. I just need the words in my head to be a little bit better than I was yesterday. And this is why I think many people forget the value of books, because I reach for a book, I can look at it for 5 minutes and go, and there I go. I got the words back in my head and I'm off I go.
That's something powerful that you said. You're putting fuel back in the tank. Eventually you drive a car, you're going to run out of juice. You're just going to run out of gas. It's just going to die. And what you're saying is this is the way that you put juice back in your engine, your mind, to allow you to operate at the level you do. Because if you're operating at the level you do, you're not procrastinating.
Okay, I love the graphic there. It said sell with confidence and integrity. Can you expound on that?
Sure. If you prospect with integrity, you will close with confidence. Now, let's break that apart. Prospect with integrity. This means that you're only dealing with those people who you know you can help. You're only dealing with those people who measure up to the same value systems you have, in other words, this lines up good. You're also treating them with incredible respect. You're sharing with them insights and information. What happens is you then build up that credible level of trust and confidence. You know what's interesting? Consistency creates credibility. Now think about this customer I told you about earlier that I've reached out to 30, 40 times. I'm creating a tremendous amount of consistency. What is it doing? It's creating credibility.
Yes.
Who do people want to do business with? People who are credible, right?
Yes.
Boom. So what happens is then I do this dance enough, and then I'm able to close with absolute confidence. And the close becomes just natural. And again, I don't like the word closing. I'm opening a relationship because I'm just continuing the relationship.
Yes. I had a life insurance guy come in here to try and sell me something, and I didn't need it, but I wanted to hear his spiel. And so he sat me down, he went through this brochure, and he went through every page of this brochure. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, you haven't even gotten to know me. You just it's almost like going out on a first date and talking about, well, how many kids do you want?
That is so fatal, because he needs to start with saying, hey, what do you want your retirement to look like? What are your dreams and aspirations? Let's start with your goals, and then we'll back into how I might be able to help you.
Yes.
And if I can't help you directly, you know what? I'm going to be able to refer you to somebody else who can help you. That's what's absolutely key.
And I think people have a lot of respect for somebody who walks away from the sale and just, if I'm not a fit for you, I'm going to acknowledge that I'm not a fit, and I'm going to say I'm not the right person for you.
I love that, because what that's saying is that I'm playing a long game. I am playing a long game. And okay, I may not get a sale today. I don't care. But I'm going to create a relationship. And somewhere down the road, that will pay out.
Absolutely. I also want you to talk about how we buy on emotion and back up with logic, because I think so many salespeople are all about the benefits, and they forget that, almost everything we've ever done when we bought it, it was, well, honey, I needed the new car. Because
gee, that sounds like the conversation in our house just the other day.
So talk about why people need to focus more on, reaching out to the person and making sure that you understand their why before you go into the benefits.
Emotion plays a key role. And I don't care if it's B2C, business to consumer, or B2B, business to business. Business to business is still an emotional decision, because undoubtedly there's 2 or 3 vendors they could pick from, or maybe not make a decision at all. But if you have that ability to create that relationship, if you have that ability to create that connection, and they see you as an individual who they value, then guess what? They're probably going to make that decision with you. So it's that emotional piece, but then wait a minute, I got to back it up with logic. Do the numbers work? Do the pros and the cons, do all these little things work? Because again, my boss is going to ask me, and I can't tell, well, I like the guy. No, right. Here are the facts.
It's also important not to read from a script. I mean, I think one of the reasons why these telemarketers only last 1 second on the phone is they instantly launch into some script. Do you run into that a lot?
Yes, I have a great line for that. The best presentation ever made is the presentation never given. Now stop and think about that. That's because you know your content so well. You are so good. Now, not arrogant. I'm saying just confident that you don't need a script. You don't need a presentation, PowerPoint, or anything like that. You just have a conversation, because at the end of the day, isn't that what customers want? Just a conversation.
Yeah. Well, you make it sound easy, and I think in a way it is. It's just having a conversation and building up the know, like, and trust. Okay, we're almost out of time, Mark. So final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
Well, here's final thoughts. I have a great definition of sales, and of course I said it earlier. It's about helping others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. But I want you to look at it this way. Sales is leadership. Leadership is sales. You meet a great leader, and they're a great salesperson. You meet a great salesperson, they're a great leader. You see, sales is not slimy. Sales is absolutely, I think, the greatest. I don't even call it a profession. I think it's a lifestyle, because it's just people dialoguing, connecting with others.
Wow, you're amazing, and you inspire me. We're going to end with his website, which is thesaleshunter.com. The great Mark Hunter. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.